We're saying like 10 points. We were like, if we got 10 points, that'd be amazing. And we're sitting here with 12, and it's just. Louis Armstrong was absolutely right. Yes. It's a wonderful world.
If only we'd known this is all it took for the world to be wonderful, was to not let crowd in the stadiums.
Well,
seeing all sorts of goals this weekend, all sorts of games with lots of goals. Yeah. What can you say other than it's been a perfect start? They've got to the end of the season and we just couldn't wait for those games to finish, could we, in lockdown, post-lockdown rather. And but I think obviously the short time off, you've got to give huge credit, I think, to the manager, to Duncan Ferguson, to David Ancelotti, and the rest of the technical staff for what they've done in that period, but also to the players, because we know that there was a few home truths spoken after the Bournemouth game. We know that Carlo Ancelotti had come out and challenged the players to come back with a different attitude. He said that in his post-game interviews. We know it went on behind the scenes. We know they had the meeting first day back behind the scenes with what was expected, and mostly, if not every one of them, has responded in a positive manner. And what we've got now is we've got what looks like a good squad and a hungry set of players and lads who want to play, and you've got the sprinkling of obviously world-class talent like James Rodriguez in there, so it's all good at the moment.
Yeah, it's not just wins. It's good performances. It's good displays by lots of players. You know, you mentioned James Rodriguez there, but we're not relying on James Rodriguez. Don't get me wrong; he has been absolutely amazing, and he is that difference. That's what happens when you have a good player, or two good players, or three good players that elevate your side. But it drags other players up, doesn't it, as well, and says to them, you know, do you want to go on this journey with us? Do you want to be part of that? I think last season we talked about some of these players like Richarlison and Dean that, if we weren't careful, could be looking for the exit door because there wasn't enough for other good players. Whereas now those players look very comfortable alongside James Rodriguez, and then other players are starting to move their game up, and I think that's been so important that, you know, especially for this game, because obviously for this game we were missing Alan, we were missing Andre Gomez, who's been a big part of the midfield. Richarlison was obviously a doubt, and you know he played, but it wasn't Richarlison, was it? And he ends up going off. But and it was important to get other players in. I've seen that at 2:00. I'm looking at Twitter, looking at social media, looking at gauging the reaction of the players playing, and you know, Tom Davies being part of the team, which people have already sort of been the last 3 days. Delph's stock has gone up incredibly in the last 3 days. But people were looking at Tom Davies, and I think that's where again this team has to, or the team fans' confidence in this side has got to start going up. As long as we've got the core, and as long as the players know what is expected of them, if 6 or 7 are going to get, you look and go, they're going to get 7s today, then it pulls, I think, the rest of them along. And I think that in this game, I think, was a major little difference for me from maybe a couple of the other games. Was it wasn't the first time where the 100% team we want, or we feel we need, and that to me was a good thing though in the end, getting through that little test of a Brighton team that are, you know, they're a decent little side, and although they have lost like 3 of the last 4 games or whatever it is.
But they've played.
No, they've played well. Don't get me wrong, but it was good to come through that little test, because you need little tests, and obviously the next game is going to be a major test. But you need those little tests early on to just see whether you are actually a good side, or whether it's just, you know, the early season sort of bounce and optimism.
No, you do, as you go through a season, you'd have to overcome each thing, and we've said this on in other games. There's been times, you know, West Brom at home, there was a little, you know, when they got it back to 2-2, were we capable of going on again, and we did. And then we went to Palace, who'd won both of their games, were we capable of going and winning 3 games on the run, we'll be capable of going to what is a tricky place and getting a result, and we did. You know, and the adversity in that as well, of them levelling up, and then we went again. And this was a different test altogether. And you're right that, you know, we weren't a full strength. Richarlison passed the late fitness test, but they targeted them early on. You could see it's, you know, some would look at it as cynical, others would look at it as, well, that's what you do. You know, if someone's doubtful and he's a danger, you give him a couple of tackles, and they did. And he had to go off, and we didn't have Alan, and we didn't have Gomez, so it was a change side. But you're right, it's about passing those little tests as we go. And I remember saying at the end of the season, when there was a lot of banging on for whole new teams, that 2 or 3 players changes a football team. And Everton have proved that with the 3 players they brought in. It's transformed the team, because the good players who we've brought in, they're not potential, the good players. And what's happened is, it's the marker was put down by the manager. They've come in and to be fair, we were already training, so people were already responding. But once you've seen those players linked, I think a lot of people were kind of going, actually, yeah, he means what he says. He's going, I need to go with, if I want to stay, I've got to go with them. People who aren't on board or not at that level will move on. We're seeing Theo Walcott's moving out today, you know, at the time recording this, looking like he's on his way to Southampton. He's someone who's been very much part of Everton's first team since he come in. It's the levels are there now, and you're right, other players. Ben Godfrey's just joined, so the players who were there now are looking, going, well, hang on. It was all very well in lockdown and all that. Ancelotti hadn't bought anyone, so it was all samey. You know, we all know each other. We can dip below what we need. Now, talking 4 or 5, Niels and Kunku's coming from nowhere and put pressure on people. There's 5 players there already. So the others have to respond, and they are doing it. And then obviously the extra bit of time you've had on the training ground, you can see the little pockets of play coming in. And it was evident in this game, even without 100% of the team he'd want, we were still playing the same kind of football he wants to play. Yeah.
Let's just have a little look at the stats for the game. So obviously 43% possession, 57% obviously to Brighton, which was a lot in the second half, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, it was a change, though, wasn't it? We changed the way we played in the second half, that's why. 11 shots each, 6 on target for us. They had loads of corners, which they were absolutely abysmal at. Let me just say that. They were absolutely abysmal on their corners. They were shocking, weren't they? And after what we see... Oh, jumping ahead there, boss. Yeah. After what we'd seen with Jordan Pickford, which we'll come on to, I'm surprised he didn't make more of the corners. But we started well, started in control again, just trying to keep the ball, push them up with that little bit of pace, a little bit of intensity, which is starting to creep up more and more. There's, you know, players are making good angles to move forward. It's not just passing around for the sake of it. It's triangles to get us up the pitch, get Rodriguez on the ball, try and get the fullbacks, you know, draw people in and then get the fullbacks out wide to push them. And we started well. The Corey nicked one high up and allowed Dom in for a shot. And you know, it's a decent effort, but that to me is what Dom is, isn't it? It's that kind of player where outside of the box, he's just looking to smash it. Right? There's no real finesse. Isn't it? You know, that might be the next thing that comes from Dom, having that little bit of, you know, starting to use his head a little bit and looking to, you know, pull one into the corner, whatever. But yeah, it was an early let off for them, actually, I thought. Yeah, we were straight on it again. That's been impressed in most of our games. We've started like we mean to go on, which is very un-Everton.
In first half.
in first half, without a shadow. But we've been like, we were on it immediately, and we did push them back, and he did. I think he tried to bend it, but you're right. He's not. He's a really good striker, Dom. In fact, he's great. He's getting better and better and better. No question about it. I don't know whether he's ever going to be that player who nicks the ball edge of the box and starts bending them.
Gary Lineker ever that player?
No. But I'm not saying you have to be. I'm just saying certain strikers in that position possibly test the keeper a bit more. Yeah. But then again, inside the penalty area, that's where he does his best work. So it was fine for me, hit the target, and that's all you can do. And it set the tempo, I thought. And what I really liked about the way we played in the first half in particular was the amount of times we broke their press with there was times when you're thinking just smash it up the line. We didn't. We were playing tight at triangles, and then no, it is. You're right. It is that. But a couple of times we broke on them because of it, because we drew them in, and people are comfortable in possession. And it was even Seamus was little ones, and then the next minute we were breaking
confidence,
away.
Isn't it? It's a lot of so, do you know what though as well? What it is it's a lot of stuff that we saw last season. It's a lot of like I don't think people appreciate, even though the results weren't good and because we were playing 4-4-2, how much stuff that we did even in the back end of last season that was getting used now, playing out from the back, you know, going trying to break the press.
I still don't love it, I'll be honest.
It'll take some getting used to. But you've seen a lot of play. I think the thing what you've got to do is you've got to know when to do and when not to do it. Yeah. And I think actually there's a good little sign of that. I think yesterday Saturday when I think we just took Seamus off and we had to reconfigure the back, you know, the back four of the midfield, and we got a goal kick and Michael Keane dropped short, and Jordan Pickford just went, no, we're going long on this. And actually for once thought someone's using their head, which is unusual.
We'll come on to that, yeah.
Yeah, that's unusual for that player. But I just thought that's when you don't, because we've seen. But
then the last 10 minutes we done it for no reason.
No, I know. But on Wednesday night, when we had to change things around, because we had 2 injuries in space of like 5-6 minutes, it threw us a little bit. Whereas I think for this, we just went, no, we're going to go long. But it is hard. It is hard. But it's what they want to play, and sometimes you have to go through that pain sometimes of that. And I'm hoping the pain was actually last season, the back end of last season, because if it would make it all worthwhile. If it was, we were playing for nothing. But
you're right. It's a lot of the good habits were put in last year, or a lot of, maybe not the good habits because that's the wrong phrase to use. A lot of the techniques, I suppose, and the tactics were kind of implemented. This is what we want to do. But you're absolutely right as well, is that you mix it then. Yeah. Mix it's what I always think is mixed. If you mix stuff up, the opposition don't know what you're going to do. And therefore you'll get the march on them. Because if you go long with 2 goal kicks and then the next one's short, what are you doing the one after? So you know, you can, there is that. But I just thought we really got on top of it, and obviously we look a threat every time we go forward. And well, you know, someone like Sigurdsson, who we thought, while he hasn't got any pace anymore, I thought he was fine Saturday, and he put a great ball in, didn't he, for Dom?
Well, yeah, I mean, it all come from, again, trying to play it down the left, trying to create good opportunities, and we've ended up getting a corner out of it. Took short, quick and clever. Great turn by Sigurdsson, who throws it in. And there's Dom at the back post, just, you know, again, just
Duncan Ferguson-esque.
It's every Everton number 9, isn't it? It's every Everton number 9's dream. It's weird when you see goals in it with the empty stadium. There's an airiness about it, isn't it? It's like you don't know if it's a real goal or not. And certainly on this one, I was just waiting for VAR to say he'd fouled him, even though he hadn't, just to see the lad go down. But that's exactly what you want from your Everton number 9, and that confidence as well, just going, I'm winning this. The lad, I think there was an article last week, wasn't it, about why he's so good in the air, and about, like, you know, all these things, different things. His leap is just incredible. There was actually a picture of him before the game, coming out of the, like, you know, the handshake thing, and he jumps in the air, and it's like what Duncan was. People used to say about Duncan Ferguson, he's a tall fella. It's like, that's why it's not the reason he was so good in the air. The reason he was so good in the air is because he was 6'4", but he could jump 9'5". And Dom's like that. When Dom jumps, the picture was there. And when he jumps, he's actually up to one of our other players' knees when he jumps. That's how high he jumps.
That wouldn't be that impressive if it was me.
No.
But
no,
I know.
It's just incredible. And the leap,
Spring
he wanted incredible. It more than the player, and
Ben White, wasn't it, I think?
You've got all, you look at that again, he's the only player there, only Everton player, but he wants it more than anyone else.
It's a great ball by Sigurdsson because he takes the keeper out the game, because it's looped over him, and it was very much Duncan Ferguson, like to me, that back stick and Dunk coming in, flying in with the header, and, you know, seeing a newspaper do a thing on Dom the other day, a local newspaper, and credited Ancelotti, and there wasn't one mention of Duncan Ferguson in the whole article. It listed number 9s. It wasn't one mention of Duncan in the article, which is which is bizarre, like, and it maybe, I don't know, whoever wrote it, I don't know, mightn't like Dunk, I'm not sure, but the one thing is that every time Dominic's spoken to about it, he always credits the work Duncan does with him. He does it every day with him, stuff every day after training with him, and we're seeing that. What we've got with Dominic Calvert-Lewin is, not only is, I mean, yeah, I won't make the reference. Not only is he a really good player and he's getting better and better, it's the desire to get to the top. I was going to use it for another Everton striker who maybe needs to learn that desire, and he'll improve more and more. He's got the attributes as he got the desire. He's gone off to...
The fellow who's playing in the Champions League, which is just...
No, but it
blows my mind.
No, he'll be sound.
No, I know.
What I mean is, though, that people like Dom, you've got people like that and other strikers I see in the Premier League who you go, oh, he's good. But are they ever going to get to that level? Because have they got the desire and the hard work? Dele Alli's one, right? Obviously a talent, knows when to arrive in the penalty area, stuff like that. Has he got does he want to get better and better? I've seen Rio Ferdinand tweet today to Ben Godfrey, who's just signed, be the hardest working player in the building. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is like that to me. He's the lad who wants to get better and better. He was a central midfielder. You know, he turned striker. Now you're seeing him develop his all-round game. And that desire to win the ball at the far post and head it, when it left his head, there was never any doubt where it was going. And, you know, he put us one up. And you'd write it with, you know, you just want to be at Goodison there, celebrating and the noise and everything. But it was a great header and it was everything we deserved. As nice a football as that day knocked around. Yeah. We looked at real threat all the time.
Obviously, we lost Richarlison, as we mentioned. He never really looked right. He obviously passed the fitness test, but the fitness test is
run over there.
You run over there, and does it feel all
right?
But
it was the thing with Richarlison
very heavily as well.
It was a calculated risk, though.
Yeah, of course it was.
Because obviously we know that he's had the scan and there was no damage, so it was was an ankle injury. It was a sprained ankle. It was okay to play. It also is. It's a threat on the team sheet for them. It makes them have to think. Yeah. And they went out and three different players kicked him on it to see if he could get up.
No, you're absolutely right. I think I mentioned that in me after match. You see Richarlison on the team sheet. They see Richarlison. We've already got a couple of players missing. If he's not there, suddenly they get a lift and go into the game stronger and more.
Yeah.
And they've had to go out and rough him up a little bit. And
that's fair. I mean, that's what you do. That's
what happens. But when we came on, he's a different kind of player. He's not ever going to give you what Richarlison does, certainly not defensively. But, we did well. We'll talk about him in a minute. But obviously, we were playing quite well again. We were keeping control of the game. We were going to get up to half time and, have a nice 1-0 lead without ever really doing much after the header. We sort of the weather was just ridiculous, crazy, wasn't it? It was ridiculous.
Stop
I actually was talking to me missus Sam. It was like, we've got full control, but you know what? I don't like that weather. And I know some people were like, it makes the pitch slicker and better for us, and I understand that. But to me, watching and playing for so many years, rain to me is just like that equaliser, quite literally. No, it is though, isn't it? It's that thing that it makes bad things happen at times, whether it be injuries, slipping over, or
shots
skipping. And we seen the header, didn't we? From the little Irish cheat beforehand. He was
offside, but...
No, but it's a little thing, the way it flashed across the goal.
Yeah.
And we're getting coming down to half time, and we let the cross come in first of all, which is a little bugbear of mine, but we let the cross come in. It's a nothing shot that he should, and it reminds me of the shot that on Wednesday night, Seb Haller, the one he just pushed over the bar. I mean, his was a little bit stronger. And Pickford's done it again, hasn't he? And first time I watched it, I looked and I thought, he must have gone full reach and he's not been able to get his arms around it. And then I'm thinking, why don't you just push over the bar? But every time I watch it since, I'm just like, it's a catch above your head.
I still think it's too high for him to catch, but that's a decision making.
No, which either way, that's what I'm saying, first of all. But I've looked, it is a simple catch, it really is. But benefit of the doubt, push it over the bar. Tim Howard did the commentary on America, or the analyst, sorry, and he was asked about it, and he was like, You push it over the bar, and then you have the arguments with your teammate about what shouldn't have happened. So he can't argue with anyone now because he's just let it in. He said, you just do what's required first. And funny how someone in me and St Matthew Jackson was saying, 2 years ago? If he does that at Anfield and just push it over the bar, maybe none of this ever happens by just making that one decision of going, do you know what? I won't be that person. I'll just be the safe person today.
Strip it away.
It's pouring down.
Who's going to say something to you?
No one's going to say.
You knock it over the bar and someone goes, why didn't you catch it? They just go, shut up.
Yeah.
Get it, mark your man.
We'll deal with the corner.
You know, it was a cross. Everton had, I think Brighton had 4 players in the penalty area and we had 8, I think, on that. So there was no danger from it. I think Trossard hit it into the floor. It was Lamptey. Actually, I thought it was Brighton's brightest player in the first half. And they took him off at half time, which was weird. I don't know whether he was injured or he didn't seem to be. But Trossard hit it into the floor, and when he hit it to the floor, I thought, sound, it's gone. And then it's in our net. And then I'm watching it and
again,
thinking,
with no fans. It's weird.
I lashed my phone across the room because I can take Everton conceding goals. It is part of football.
Yeah.
But when you gift goals, I can't. It really annoys me. And I just looked at it again and thought, was he fouled? Because that's your natural instinct. He's been pushed as he's tried to catch it. And it isn't. It's just bad goalkeeping. It's bad goalkeeping, bad decision making. I don't want to. We've won 7 games on the run. I don't want to go after someone and go, he's not, because it becomes that thing then. Is every time you upgrade your team, you look for the weakest link and people have a go with him. I don't want us to be that. But it's just frustrating. With him, I mean, me and Piv have done me and Andy have done the numbers game, which will be out probably tomorrow, maybe on Patreon or tonight. But Andy gave me a stat from 2017, which was when he signed. He's made the most errors that have led to a goal out of anyone. He's made 11 now. So he's the worst in the Premier League at goals, errors that lead to goals. And it's things from nothing. That's not even including the 2 of Fleetwood in the cup the other week. So it's, you know what? He's a brilliant shot stopper at times, and he makes...
He's a Premier League goalkeeper, they should all be
exactly,
shot stoppers.
And that was what I was going to say. Great at making these spectacular saves. But if you can't do that, if your defenders... Because what happened is, if that was the first mistake he'd made, or he hardly ever makes a mistake...
Like
Ederson, right? You go, it happens. He's made a mistake, anyone can. Keepers make a mistake, it's a goal. But because it isn't, it unsettles everybody, and he drops it. Then he looks weak then when the ball drops, because he can't get near that Connolly, who's like my size or something. And it ends up in the net. You know, Michael Keane
goes to his legs.
Can't. I mean, what can he do? He's trying to cover the goal. And it's 1-1 from nowhere. Now, if they've been peppering your goal and you think it's coming, I was never at that stage where I thought it's coming, this. Yeah. And all of a sudden it's 1-1. I know, you know. And
no, I know.
Them moments have to be. If Everton are gonna,
he won't be the Everton goalie this time next year.
Nah,
he won't be the Everton goalie.
I don't think.
There's already rumours around today that we're looking for a backup keeper. Yeah. And if we're looking for a backup keeper, then we're looking for a first team keeper.
He's coming. Yeah, he's coming.
Do you know what I mean? It might be a short-term thing just to have someone to put pressure on him, because obviously the club don't feel like the other two are putting pressure. I mean, they can't. Said this the other day. They can't even decide who's the number 2. No. So what does that say about them? So he won't be the Everton goalkeeper as far as I'm concerned this time next year, unless they heavily work on him. But I don't believe it's in his. Said this for ages, and I know. It's funny because we're looking at what Nev tweets and people go and see Nev. I'm sorry, I don't agree with Neville Southall, because Neville, and I know he's the greatest, but Nev keeps on giving him the benefit of the doubt. But I seen over the weekend, I think even for Nev, it was almost like it's not his ability now. It's something different, and this has always been our tact. You've got, like you said before, it's decision making. A goalkeeper in that circumstance, who it's not even better goalies push that over the bar. Not worse goalies, better goalkeepers, because they read the situation and they decide the safest thing to do is push it over the bar.
Neville Southall said when he was in here, he's a reactive goalkeeper, and what he has to develop is he's got to look at situations before they arise.
And this was always the mantra of all great goalkeepers, and it was what sort of Man United had a problem with when Schmeichel left was, if you're a goalkeeper and you're playing for a team and you don't have to make a save for 40 odd minutes and then that one opportunity arises, you've got to be ready for it. That's what makes great goalkeepers. That's what
concentration, and it's what we always say about him. It is levels of concentration.
He's Mignolet for them.
Yeah.
He's Mignolet. He's a goalkeeper who can make great saves, but then will throw one in. And you can't have, and I honestly believe Carlo's patience has run out with him. Even in the press conference afterwards, when he was asked a question, it was just like, we won the game, let's move on.
He said, I'll speak to him when he's back, didn't he? So that says it all, doesn't it?
So it's 1-1, but very importantly, we get the goal back. We get the goal back straight away. Brilliant by Seamus.
Yeah.
Keep going to the end of the half. Wins as a foul.
I thought he was excellent again at the weekend.
And what a delivery by James Rodriguez. He just stands it.
What a delivery, but what a header as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know people go, oh, yeah, but it's a brilliant header by Mina because it's the angle right in the corner, the power, but the ball in with the left foot. Oh, my God. Just please head it.
But it just stood up, didn't it?
But we had a man Keane jumping, you see. Once Michael Keane's jumping, you're not seeing it as a defender because he's big. Yeah. So and Yerry just... It's a brilliant header at the perfect time. Yeah. Knock the stuffing out of them. Yeah. Changes both team talks at half time. Because you can get back in and go, right, you've made an error, but we're back in front. Yeah. We have what we had. So now we go on. I think for Brighton, for Potter, it would have been a kick in the plums because they hadn't done anything and he'd have been going. We haven't really caused these problems and it's 1-1. We can go for this. Where for us, it was right, as you were, let's get on to it. And I thought what we did do, listen, that we'll talk about the wand in a minute, but that left foot is just unbelievable. And if they never left fans back in the stadium and Everton are as good as this, fine, I'm good with it. I'm good, I'll watch your own forever as long as we're amazing like we are. But the one thing that you get in the pit of your stomach is I'd just love to be sat there watching him because I said the other week after we just signed him, Kevin Sheedy, that left foot was ridiculous. This kid is the best player I've ever seen in Everton's shirt for technical ability, without a shadow.
We'll talk more about him in a minute.
We will, but it was a brilliant.
Did you? Can I just say, did you catch that moment? By the way, on the right hand side.
Oh, when he flicked it over the fella's head.
I want it in a GIF. Someone needs to GIF this. If anyone can go back, if anyone from Everton's watching, please do this. The moment when he's on the right hand side, just Gladys Street side of the dugout. And the ball comes over and he lifts it over the Brighton lad's head in one movement and then hits it on the volley. I think it might have been to the core, I'm not 100% sure. And it was just like, but no one even mentioned
it was like he was under pressure, the fella was on him, and you were just thinking maybe get a foul on, and he just flicked it over his head and dead calm and just volleyed it, and we just moved on with what we were doing, and it was like, oh my God. But no one touched on it. They're the moments that get lost in the game. What you've got to remember with it, when you watch a player like that, I think we said it last week, but how much he manages to slow the game down. People look and go, has he got pace? And so something we talked about when we were getting him. He's not the quickest, is he? The game just goes.
I will never, ever, like, if someone goes, you've got the chance to sign this player, I'm never ever going to go, nah, he's best days behind him ever again, because they're just amazing.
If you put the right people around players like that,
right circumstances.
I look at David Silva at Man City. He was one of the best players who's played in the Premier League without a shadow of a doubt. Was he one of the quickest? No. Did he ever look like he slowed down? Well, no. And because he had legs around him.
Second half, obviously we got through the first 5 minutes, which is good. Because it's caught us out recently. And then we just sort of, we had to make adjustments, obviously. Seamus Coleman went off with an injury, Delph come on.
But he only went off. When did Seamus go off? It was 3-1, wasn't it?
Yeah, but we obviously made adjustments during the second half.
What we did though was, for the second half though, I think there was just a conscious decision that they like to get on the ball. And it was like, let's flip it now then. We'll play, we're winning. Yeah. So we'll just do the counter. We'll just do what we do on the counter.
I just thought that, exactly that. When we played on the counter, we just played in a low block.
Yeah.
And we let them have the ball. And we mentioned before, their set pieces were just mental. I can't believe every time they had the corner, they didn't just throw it at Pickford after they'd scored. I honestly don't believe
Well,
it.
they done the Roberto Martinez stuff, didn't he? Well, he did,
I know.
because he wants to play football. Listen, they knock it round really nicely, fair play. But
mental, just mental.
He's doing that thing of what Barcelona used to do, which is when it's a corner, it's like to draw, keep the ball, because when you throw it in, it's a 50-50.
Draw people out and then work it in. But no, we hit them on the high. We hit them with the low block, and we tried to nick it, and that's where we got our joy from. Both goals, you know, the first goal they're trying to come out to the back. Funny enough, it's James Rodriguez who puts the little. It doesn't just intercept it; he intercepts it, and in one movement,
kills it,
movement slides it in. Gets to. It's Dom, isn't it? And he puts Iwobi in, and Iwobi just knocks it across, and James Rodriguez had kept going. No one is even near him, and he sweeps it in for 3-1, and you're just thinking...
Iwobi does brilliant. He draws them all across and then just cuts it back. We've got a runner running in. Is it Dom, I think, who runs?
Yeah, Dom's
it goes, and he drags them, and then James. And as that ball's bouncing, you just think, and then you realise it's him, so you just relax. And all he has to do is get his body over the ball. Yeah. I've seen Theo at the bar and put it over from there, but he just sweeps it in with that left foot, and you're thinking, that's just what we need at the breathing space.
And we did it exactly the same for the fourth. The Corey nicks it in the middle of the park. One of their players jumps out, falls over like he's being shot. The Corey goes, we get it to Iwobi. And what's brilliant, I think, what's brilliant about this one is Iwobi's got the ball, and Dean
goes on the left.
Burns on the outside of him to take the player, and then the Corey actually slows down his run, and when that space opens, the Corey then hits the afterburners, hits the space. Great ball by Iwobi, but the Corey's little dink over the keeper, he just outside of the foot. James Rodriguez in exactly the same spot, this time with his right foot, so you're a little bit nervous about it, and he just dinks it into the ground to take the pace out of it, and it's in the back of the net, and it's 4-1. And
the ball by Iwobi's brilliant. The Sky's pass is absolutely brilliant, and that's what he's got. And he grew into the game, Iwobi. Come on, I thought the first half he was a little bit, he just couldn't quite get into it. He was working hard enough and pressing hard enough, but he just couldn't quite get going. But the second half, I thought he was very good and showed us what he can do. You know, the assist for the third goal, the second assist is what it's called for the second, you know, for the fourth goal, with all the, you know, the pass to the assist, whatever. But it was a great ball. But the Corey was, I give the Corey man of the match for me, because he was playing in a midfield that was different. He had to do a different job, and he was just everywhere. And that bit there for the goal just showed me what he's got. That bursting into the penalty area with energy was fantastic.
What was great about the Corey though was he's like the insurance policy, isn't he? Because you look at Gylfi and you look at Tom Davies standing in centre midfield, and you're like, oh, nerves of last season. But he's the insurance policy now, because he has got the legs to get round, and he made the other two. Because
Tom Davies was good.
Tom was great. What Tom did was just win the ball and get the ball. He never did that thing, thankfully, of running with the ball with his head down and then falling into traffic. Every time he got it, even if he had to go backwards, he just did it. I think the only time he lost the ball was when he was at right back. I think he lost a silly one on the edge of the box where he should have just knocked it down the line or something. But he just kept it nice and simple.
Well, he showed you that another one, if you put the right players around them, they're not bad players. Yeah. All right, he wouldn't be first choice, but he's proved at the weekend that he can be a good squad player for Everton.
So we're 4-1 up, and obviously they've got a lot of the possession, trying to, you know, nick that second one with maybe 15 minutes to go to put a little bit of pressure on us. But we've spoken about him before, but Yerry Mina really did come into his element at that point, didn't he? He really did start doing his job. Let's just have a look at his numbers. Touches, 58. Goals, 1. Successful passes, 38. Successful forward passes, 21. Pass accuracy, 88%. Interceptions, 4. Clearances, 4. Aerial duels, 1. 4. Recoveries, 3. Shots blocked, 3. Successful passes, successful tackles, 1. But some of his blocks, like, what was great about it was, you just wonder whether, knowing that Godfrey's coming in, someone to take that place, challenge him for it. But he really did enjoy defending in this game, didn't you? You could see it. There was one in the second half where I think the Corey gave it away cheaply. towards the end, and they got a 2-on-1, and the lad plays him, but he gets over it, and he makes the block, and he's loving it. Everything in the air, he's winning it. He just looked like a complete defender, and obviously Carlo had said we played the low block, which probably suits him and Michael Keane playing together a little bit more, but he really went up a level in this game.
I think it's played the 4 Premier League games, only really West Brom he hasn't had a good game in, and it was a half, wasn't it? Just a half and a bit, and then he got better. He was excellent at Spurs. Thought he was really good at Palace, but Saturday he was brilliant. That block you're talking about was a goal. The lad threw the foot back, and he from nowhere and got the block, and it was incredible. And you're right, he got up and celebrated. That's what you want.
And of course, he had the one with where he heads it from below the bar as well.
Yeah,
and Pickford clatters into him.
Yeah.
Pickford's flying across.
3-1, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was just after Coleman had gone off, and you're thinking, oh great, are we losing another one here? But he was right. No, listen, you know how I feel about Yerry Mina. I really like him. Is he?
You said that like it was a rom-com. You know how I feel about Yerry.
I really like Yerry Mina. I think he's great. I do.
No,
I think he's got. Listen, is he perfect? No. I think people, because of his size, he's a huge defender. Even on the commentary on BT on Saturday, I can't remember who it was. Was it McManaman?
Yeah, it was McManaman.
Was saying like the size of him, because he's huge. So he looks a bit gangly at times, but he's great. But I've got the Godfrey coming in, yeah. We want that. We want our defenders to go, I've got to play well here.
We do.
Michael Keane's been brilliant. He was great again at the weekend. Yerry Mina needs to be at that level. We want it to be tough for Holgate to get back in. We want it to be tough for Godfrey to get in. Playing like that, he's got no issues.
No.
Drops that level. That's his level now. That's the bench. You've always put a marker down and go, that's what I'm above. You get players sliding in and getting important blocks in and then
enjoying it.
I think you treat it like the Italians here, celebrating, like when you're seeing that famous one of Bonucci and Chiellini.
We defended like Italians.
But that's what it's got to be like.
We defended like we were that second half. The way we defended was brilliant. The way we funneled them, in and moved them to where we wanted them, so we could nick the ball. I seen they were talking about yesterday about Spurs setting traps for Man United. We did the same. We are putting them into areas where we want them to go, so we can nick the ball, so we can be away. It's almost gegenpressing in a way, but you're creating the areas you want players to. You want them to have the. I mean, they've ended up having huge amounts of possession because we wanted them to, like you said before, we wanted them to have huge amounts of possession.
But the first half, we were on 60-odd%, and we just flipped it, which I thought was really interesting. That we just went out and went. Now you know what?
Shows.
We had loads of possession in the first half. We'd had a few shots, but we'd had loads of possession. But they always had good numbers back because we were. If you looked at it quite a few times in the first half, they had everyone behind. Because Zach was watching, it was like the commentator said, they've got everyone behind the ball, and he was going, why do we keep passing it back? And I was saying, because we're trying to move them around the pitch. Second half, what we've got in at half time and gone, like, we're winning. Give them the ball. Just let them have it, because they'll get confidence and we'll go.
The funny thing is, you talked about before, we're passing out from the back. That's another thing. It's like you've got to get confidence and you've got to get used to do that at opposition. You, as an Everton, you feel like they're always going to score a goal. I mean, they did score a goal, but it came when it didn't really matter, and it came from a great goal.
That was a brilliant.
And to be fair, we had sort of give it up then a little bit. We were getting a little bit.
Can I just talk before we go the block by Tom Davis?
Well, I was just going to say that. I was going to say you can't not, because was it 3-1 at that point?
It was, yeah.
Pickford flaps, and he makes an unbelievable block, and it really does.
Well, it's a shot on target otherwise. It broke to Connolly, I think, or was it Maupai? One of them. And he comes from nowhere and blocks it. It's a brilliant block. And you're only when you've seen the replay, you realise how good it was, because it all happens quickly and it come out and the ball deflected wide. But I just thought with Pickford, with that one, he never see. I don't know. I'm not a goalie, and I've never been a goalie, so I don't know. But does he not know that there's nobody anywhere near that cross? So if he just leaves it, it's going out for a throw-in. He pushes it to their striker. Now if he lashes that in, it's a goal. And you're like, what the
sets him up.
I see other keepers watching it across the box.
Yeah.
I don't know. A goalie might say to me, you can't do that. You might have, and that's fair enough. I might have it wrong. But I looked at it again and was like, why does he not know what?
Push it into traffic. You just don't. Any goalkeeper tell you that.
But saying that, Davis was alive brilliantly, and it was a fantastic.
And you've got to remember little moments, because they're the little moments that
goes 3-2.
Yeah, exactly.
We're under pressure again, aren't we? So
exactly.
And then it was when Rodriguez went off, really, because we'd still, even at 4-1, I'm thinking we can get 6 here. Every time we come forward, they were terrified, and we were.
I just thought in the last 5 minutes, we started getting a little bit sloppy, playing passes that need, like the Decore one. It didn't. He gets caught in possession. Little things for their second goal. There's little moments there where we can just.
We should have emptied it.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Goal. There's little moments there where you just want your players to go. It's last minute, lads. Just put it down the other end of the pitch, and
they have to start again.
You know, I know because it is, players will probably go, it's 4-1. You know, there's no. These are not. You can't anticipate for a shot like that. It was a great goal. It was a great goal. You can't anticipate for that. But you can anticipate for it if the ball's at the other end of the pitch. And Dom would still chase for you. Dom was chasing everything.
But even if you just smash it down there anyway, you get your shape again and you reset. And it's little things in like that, because we were laughing before, because not only did Basuma, it was a brilliant goal, great takes, volleyed it perfectly. Then he broke and got a corner.
Well, that was the thing.
Unnecessary corner.
They showed the replay. And when the replay went off, they had the ball, and I was like, oh, you're joking me! And they get a corner.
I've seen this before.
I'm thinking,
don't.
If they get an, oh my God, that was the thing. We're 4-1 up. I'm not sitting there. God, this is amazing. I'm sitting there going, can you just blow the whistle?
I'll be honest, I was quite calm. I'm normally like praying and everything. I was quite calm, but then when it went 4-2, I was a bit annoyed, because I don't think they created enough chances to make it 4-2.
To keep us top.
Yeah, exactly, but then we give the corner away. I'm thinking, if someone heads this in, this is Newcastle all over again. But it didn't. But no, I think we really decided once Hammers went off that was him. He brought Walcott on, and Walcott just decided to not touch the ball as a farewell.
The levels were huge, weren't they?
Let's
just look at Hammers Rodriguez.
At the magician.
72 touches, 2 goals, 1 assist, 4 shots, successful passes 42.
44, but still.
44, sorry. Successful long balls 4, chances created 2, pass accuracy 94%, recoveries 5, successful attacking third passes 15, and recoveries 5, fouls 1, 5, successful dribbles 2. Recoveries is a good one, isn't it? Because Josie's. Like, he doesn't go missing, does he? He doesn't go hiding. He's not one of these players who throws himself on the floor the minute he gets touched. I mean, he knows how to win a foul, but he also doesn't give things up just because he's touched. He wants to keep going as much as he can.
Works hard. He's not, he doesn't sprint back and throw tackles in, but it doesn't matter, because you don't need him to. He gets back and he helps out. And don't forget, he hasn't played a lot of football over the last 2 years, and I remember saying this when we signed him, that could actually work in our favour, really. But he's played 3 games in a week this week, and you know, we've been at, okay, Palace was a tight game, and then obviously we had the cup game, and he's played again in ridiculous conditions at the weekend. So, but he's the difference maker. He's the left foot, the creativity, he's just so good.
He looks like he's enjoying himself.
He does.
That's the best thing. He looks like he's enjoying himself. And when you see a player like that, seen comments today by Tim Vickery saying it's the best sign in the summer. Why? Because it fits perfectly. Brought a player in who just wants to play football, got a manager who knows how to play him, playing in the position he wants to play in, basically doing what he wants to do. Not for the sake of like the player, the sake of everything, the team and everything. It all. And when you see a player happy, and I seen a picture of him, I think he put a picture up Sunday, doing like Pilates, you know, recovery, you know, lad wants to play football, good stage in his life where he wants to play. And then for him, he's thinking, I haven't lost a game, this is brilliant. Won every game, and I'm like, that's the thing.
It all helps, doesn't it?
You're selling something to someone, you're selling it to everybody else, and you go, see, I told you, didn't I? You come here, and I did say we're going to, you know, that's what Carlo be saying. See,
that's the thing was there, wasn't it? He's been at big clubs, you know, fantastic. He was brilliant at Monaco. We had a great World Cup. Went to Real Madrid, was incredible with Ancelotti at Real Madrid. You know, went to Bayern Munich. with Ancelotti and was incredible at Bayern Munich with Ancelotti. And then it hasn't been quite as good for him the last few years. And all of a sudden he's 29 and he's probably thinking, I've had a couple of years, all right, to play for Real Madrid and I've been at Bayern, but I haven't played. And he said himself, he done an interview, didn't he? 6 weeks before he got the Everton move with Rio Ferdinand, I think. And Ferdinand was like, who's the best manager you've ever played for?
Yeah.
Professor Ancelotti. You know, and obviously he comes here, he knows the manager loves him. And you're right, the manager's sold him something at Everton. And when it comes and we start winning and it's working, it's easy to buy into then. And he's like, I'm kind of like the main man here because he's the biggest player in our team, but we've got a good team as well. Again, the stress, I want him to experience Goodison bouncing and singing his name and all that, because that'll cement that thing for him. But when you're playing, he's playing football, he's in the team, he's playing, he's had a couple of years where he's been sub or he's not being used. And
he was tweeting last night, you know, Colombian fans, I'm back, you know, so he's going back for a couple of games, and I mean, as long as we get him back for the derby, that's all you can. But no, it's listen, it's been fantastic. 4 wins out of 4 into the next round of the Carabao Cup in December, and it just feels good to be in Everton. And as like I said from the start, it's not just about winning games of football. You're watching us and you're thinking, we're competing, we're playing well, we've got a pattern of play, we've got hungry players, we've got players who all want to play now. You know, people don't want to be out the team in case someone takes their spot, which will be huge going into the next set of games, because it is week to week. Imagine training. Imagine how hard training's going to be when players are like, I want that position. You know, Skilfie Sigurdsson and Tom Davis this week and Iwobi have got that taste of being in the team. They don't want to lose that. They don't want to lose that winning feeling or being in the side. You know, and that means Alan and Gomez. Don't get me wrong, I fully expect both of them to come back in the team. But people are starting to make the manager think. You know, Seamus Coleman goes out injured. You know, will John Joe be kicking himself now? But they'll all be not rushing to get back because if they're injured. But it's that thing of like, don't want to miss out. I want to be playing every week. I want to be part of something, because it seems like something at long last is happening for Everton Football Club. And when you look at the league and how wide open it is, because I know and the circumstances where everyone's playing with freedom, and don't get me wrong, I want fans back in the ground as soon as possible, but that freedom that seems to have allowed footballers to play under, you know, home games are no longer home games, they're just games of football on a pitch. That means that ambitions can be met if we have a good goal at it this season. Who knows?
It's rhythm and belief, and it's momentum. But people talk about momentum in football. That's what it is. Create the momentum, and that's what we've done. And when you've got good players,
there you go. Another great final. I mean, it's been like this is the first final word we've done in the studio since the Spurs game. Yeah, fantastic to watch. Got a couple of weeks now to just revel in it and look forward to that Merseyside. Being a bit weird. I mean, I'm still not looking forward to the Merseyside derby, but at least this time we go in with. I'm not even asked about the table and more bothered.
But we are top of the league.
Yeah, we are top of the league. I mean, that's part of the course, isn't it?
You can't say
that's just part of the course.
No,
but it's nice to go into a Merseyside derby thinking we've got a chance here.
Of course, listen, they're a great side, but we've got a chance.
Let's not talk about that too much right now.
No,
there you go. Big thanks if you've been joining us live on Patreon. Don't forget, if you want to join us on Patreon, get lots of exclusive shows, watch live shows daily, every single day now. Well, midweek, we're doing live stuff on Patreon. The link is in the description. Join us. Other thing, if you want some Boss, people always saying, where'd you get your t-shirts? Well, two of our Boss t-shirts here. The link is in the description for that Toffee TV shop. People are always asking, so I thought I'd throw that out. Give us a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see you on the next one. See you later. No more time to lose, 'cause we're hot on the trail.
There's no way we're gonna fail.